Bryce Miller is up on the mound since he made his season debut. He began the year on the injured list with that oblique strain. Since he first stepped foot on a big league mound this year, May 13th, one of the best ERAs of any starting pitcher. In fact, it's the fourth lowest, a 1.77 ERA as a starting pitcher this year. He has simply been electric for the Mariners. For more on Bryce Miller, we take you down to the Ford Sports Desk and say good evening to Angie.
Guys, thanks so much. Yeah, his strikeout to walk ratio leads all of baseball. He has been so good, but strikeouts aren't everything. I mean, you look at his last start. He struck out a career high 11, and he still got saddled with the loss. All right, so how is he doing it? The swing and miss predominantly coming from two pitches, his four-seam fastball and his split finger. Four-seam fastball and split, really creating a nasty north-south combo. The fastball right here at the top of the zone, getting above barrels. 19 strikeouts on that pitch alone. Meantime, his splitter has been even better. More strikeouts than the four-seam fastball. 33% whiff rate. They're getting above that pitch. He's getting below and at the bottom of the zone, below the zone. They're slugging 133 against it. Slugging 133 against it. Now, historically, he's been a lot tougher on right-handed batters, but this year he's top 10 in baseball in opponents' batting average against lefties. The split finger, a big reason why. Well, we're kicking off the holiday weekend just a little bit early. So glad that you are here celebrating with us as America turns 250. Doesn't look a day over 149, I'd say. Bryce Miller climbs the bump after the sweep of the Angels next on Mariners TV.
TV is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, home of the F-150, America's best-selling truck for 49 years. By Washington Trust Bank, privately owned and locally invested since 1902. And by Steel, the official outdoor power equipment of the Seattle Mariners. A little cool and overcast here tonight. Final game of this three-game series. Bryce Miller is up on the mound. Mariners have already secured themselves a series win, winning the first two games, now trying to get the sweep in 3 of the Halos. Here's what it looks like for Kurt Suzuki, first-year skipper for the Angels. Power at the top. Zach Neto, 18 home runs this year, a couple of notable on-base streaks, batting 3rd and 4th. Guzman and Soler, 16 and 18 games respectively. Meanwhile, Joe Adell, plenty of power, 11 home runs. He's had some success historically, hitting it over the wall against the Mariners, with O'Hoppe doing the catching today and batting 9th. Bryce Miller is up on the mound with that sparkling 1.97 ERA, combining his times out of the bullpen and in the rotation. And Miller making his 9th overall appearance here tonight.
Yeah, he's been looking so good. We keep saying this is the best version of Bryce Miller, and it just continues. It's not a situation where those numbers or the stuff is starting to come back down to earth. He's maintaining this stuff. As you look at the pitch arsenal, the four-seam has that really good RPM at the top of the strike zone. It's a huge weapon. Obviously, the split to the lefties. But a lot of righties in this lineup, and we've seen the usage of the slider and the knuckle curve from Bryce. A little bit more in these last couple outings to some of these righties has been effective. I think that's going to be a big key for him tonight against all these righties.
Kind of a welcome change for the Mariners, a more right-hand heavy lineup. The Mariners have seen, it seems like, countless teams with 6, 7, and at one point even 9 left-handed hitters the Mariners faced in Game 1 against Cleveland on the last road trip. One of the few times in franchise history the Mariners faced a lineup of everyone batting from the left side. So a welcomed lineup of a bunch of righties against this exclusively right-handed rotation. Zach Neto climbs in, all set to go. And Bryce Miller's first pitch is swung on and lifted into foul ground. Naylor, a bit of a run, runs out from under his hat and makes the catch. Ball always seems to come back, and Neto is out number 1.
That's a big out. One pitch, one out. Zach Naylor's looked really good, especially that first night against George Kirby. Yeah, look at Naylor, just make sure he's got plenty of room, plenty of space. First pitch of the game.
Quickly one away here is Nolan Shonowell. Former first-round draft pick for the Angels. Speaking of the draft, we'll be joined later tonight by Scott Hunter who oversees the Mariners amateur scouting department. He helps run the draft for the Mariners and has had such success. We'll be talking all things MLB draft with Scott. That'll be in the top of the third. So get your questions ready, Hyphen. So Scott, who are you picking this year? Cut to the chase.
They have had some success, man. I mean, think about the last couple of years. Back when I was playing, I remember it was always that, well, you know what? These guys get drafted. You don't really pay a whole lot of attention to the draft. Anything can happen, but man, how significant the drafts have been this last half a decade for this Mariners team. It's been unbelievable.
Well, you look around the diamond tonight, the guy up on the mound, drafted and developed by the Mariners. His battery mate, of course, Cal Raleigh also. Mariners up the middle, all homegrown. Emerson, Young, and Julio. Up the middle, indeed. Cole Emerson is right there. 2 outs.
And for Bryce, again, we talked about that heater. That was kind of middle of the plate. One thing to pay attention to when you look at the velocity from Bryce, when you start seeing some of these swings, that pitch right there, that and just a little bit elevated. When you start seeing some of these just straight misses on that pitch early on in the game, he can kind of sniff that out. You'll see him go to that fastball a lot more.
Strike one to Denzer Guzman.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing how good he has been, and for good reason. He got after it in the offseason, got over some injury issues, recovery issues, Bryce Miller, and really every time he's gone out, it's been that pitch, that fastball heavy. You can see him be on the attack. The one time though, Goldie, we were in Washington against those Nationals. That was the one time they essentially were getting after that hitter a little bit. He ended up going 8 innings. It worked in his favor, but the swing and miss wasn't quite there, so he went to plan B. That split, he went to the slider as well. He looks really good here in his 9th start of the year.
Well, that split finger has been such a devastating weapon for Bryce Miller, not just this year, but historically. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Guzman. It seems like a lifetime ago now for Bryce, but when he first broke into the big leagues with the Mariners and was so fastball heavy, he did not have a good weapon against lefties, and he came back the next year with that split finger, and the rest is history. 2 outs and nobody on. Swing and a miss. First strikeout tonight for Bryce. A 10-pitch, 1-2-3, top of the first for Bryce Miller.
Pest and Pests.
The lineup tonight for manager Dan Wilson. J.P. Crawford leading things off for the Mariners in a milestone game for J.P. We'll get to that in a moment. 7-game hit streak for Julio. Great to see Canzone and Raley back in the lineup. A hamstring and a forearm issue kept them out of game 2. So they had a chance to rest that day and yesterday's scheduled off day, and are suited up and ready to go tonight against the right-handed Walbert Urania, the rookie starting pitcher who, man, he can really rush it home.
Yeah, he can. One of the biggest surprises, pleasant surprises for the Angels this year. 22 years old. He was, look, he's a top 20 prospect, but not the strongest farm system. Yeah, but the guy you mentioned rushing up there, you're talking upper 90s hitter with movement. He's got that really plus changeup. You'll see that to lefties. He's got that little developing sweeper at the moment, but the command can be an issue, but a really nice addition to this rotation.
A milestone game for J.P. Crawford. Congratulations. My goodness, 1,000th career game tonight. Barely 7% of all players to ever put on a big league uniform can say that they've played 1,000 games in the show. And J.P. Crawford is on that short list. A remarkable achievement.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's very aware of it right now, and especially too the way he got to the Mariners. He had a bumpy start to his career, was a huge prospect with the Phillies, came over to the Mariners, and his career just took off, and here he is sitting in with 1,000 games under his belt.
Awesome stuff for JP. Here is Julio. There have been only about 23,000 players and change to ever play in the major leagues. I mean, it is it would not even fill up. Well, it would fill up about half of T-Mobile Park if you look at it that way. And not an easy thing to do, let alone stick around long enough to play 1,000 games.
I remember I can't remember who it was. Someone had their 10 years of service time. One of the first days I was in the big leagues, and you hear these names pop up, and you're thinking, man, that is a lifetime away. It is so tough to, first of all, obviously get to the big leagues. Yes, stick around, get beyond the cup of coffee. Get through those first couple of years, become an established player. Man, it is so tough. But here's JP sitting with 1,000 games. Unbelievable.
Missing inside at 98, 3-1 to Julio. He gets into a good count. Ben Wilson played in 1,299 games in his big league career. Really ran that four-seamer in, 3-2. One of only two right-handed bats Urania will face tonight. And that is just up and in, and a good take from Julio. Walks have certainly been a problem for Urania. Here's a look at his arsenal.
Man, that's the one thing, is developing. Again, 22 years old, first year in the big leagues, but we talked about that sinker. It's around 32%. The changeup is a huge weapon of his. Obviously the four-seam, and then that sweeper as well. Something he's trying to combat some of these righties at the major league level. But you mentioned the command. It can get away from him, and the big inning too.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. A look at his repertoire. All right, well, the changeup, you have to figure, will be used heavily tonight. He throws it a lot as it is. If you look at his changeup versus lefties this year, it has been one of the best changeups in baseball. Third lowest average, fourth lowest slug, fourth highest whiff rate. And when they put it in play, they're not hitting it hard at all. Third lowest hard hit. So this is his pitch of choice, especially against left-handed bats, and the Mariners have plenty of those in there tonight.
And you got a 2-0 count right now. This is kind of that safety net pitch where he's fastball count. He's pretty comfortable throwing that pitch.
Just scrapes the edge. One out and one on for the Mariners early on. Rolled over. Shotwell takes it on the grass, spins, and it hits Julio and rolls into center field. Julio held at third. Well, he just took one off the backside, but he's fired up about it. The Mariners have him on the corners. Yeah, using your head.
Is that trying to tell the training staff, hey, I don't need to see it, just stay put? Man, he is fired up right now. But again, the Mariners have this break in that first game. Ooh, straight off the noggin, back of the helmet.
Well, you look at where Neto was set up. He's on the inside part of the back, which is where he should be set up, because Shotwell is on the inside of first base because he was holding Julio Rodriguez on, and Julio doing a great job of trying to take away that lane inside. He goes outside and off of Julio.
So it's a fielder's choice and an error on the throw from Shotwell. That's one way to get your night started. And Dan and Cal Torgerson's coming out and just making sure Julio's okay. Maybe a little adrenaline wore off.
Yeah, not only that, you take one off the back of the head. Remember too, your heart rate's up a little bit as well, right around that base. So God, you mentioned it. You see this ball off the back of the head. And again, this is not something where it's, I'm not saying it's not painful, but it's more of the fact that your heart rate's up. Maybe a little bit of a dizzy spell as he's standing over there at third base once you stop running full speed. Yeah, you can tell right now he's kind of hands on knees, trying to get that. Maybe lost a little bit of balance right now, dealing with some dizziness. Never good.
That throw was nearly 80 miles an hour from Shotwell that hit off the back of Julio's helmet. That rung the bell. Julio was looking like he was in pretty good spirits, and then all of a sudden he was starting to feel that a little bit.
Yeah, Goldie nailed it, man. The adrenaline wears off. You kind of settle in, your heart rate dips a little bit, and you get everything starts getting a little bit dizzy. That's exactly why Kyle Torgerson, the trainer, and Dan Wilson are out there at third base. You can see KT too, just trying to make eye contact with him, trying to see some of the symptoms. Maybe asking some random questions, kind of testing him right now to make sure he's present.
Well, it's not quite Josh Naylor jumping to get in the way of a throw like we saw him do last year, but the effect is similar, and good to see Dan and KT able to head back towards the dugout, and Julio stay put at third.
Yeah, calling time, doing the right thing. Sucking back some big breaths.
Well, at least it happened in the first inning. Play with that the rest of the night. Jeez. Julio's collected himself. Looks like he's okay. Now the Mariners in business here. They've got him on the corners with one away. And Urania having to throw a couple of pitches there to stay warm. So here's Randy.
Man, this is where you got to have those good at-bats too. We talked about some of the command issues from Urania this season and the big inning, right? So all of a sudden you get a ground ball, goes off the back of Julio's helmet. Now you got first and third, none out. This is where the game can speed up when you're 22 years old.
Well, that number there you see with runners in scoring position for the Mariners, that's something Dan Wilson's been very pleased with these first two games. Now, a lot of that came in game 2. They were 5 for 13. Mariners have not hit for a ton of power in this series, but they have racked up a lot of hits, and at times some timely hits. The 0-2. And he drills them at 98. Well, you can hear that on the elbow guard. I'm not sure 98 feels good no matter how much padding you got there. So Julio in the helmet, and now Randy in the elbow. Man, he's really feeling that one. You don't see Randy react like this too often after being hit by a pitch, and goodness knows he's been hit a lot, more than anybody else in the game the last 2 years.
And the Mariners get banged up in this first inning. Oh yeah, see, just kind of looks like it's off that pad, but definitely getting some of that bone around that elbow. Oh, upper 90s, by the way.
On an 0-2 count, no less.
Kyle Torgerson's busy.
Yeah, a little too much face time for KT here in this first inning. Well, nobody's been hit more in the last 2 years than Randy, and more times than not we see Randy just take his base and normally not flinch at all. But even though that caught a lot of elbow guard, that was at 98 miles an hour, and it's not too often that we see Randy need tending to after being hit by a pitch, but this is a different story tonight.
Tell you what, Kyle Torgerson's having some deep chats, first with Julio, now with Randy Arozarena, in regards to making sure they're all good. Cool.
$13 more than the next closest batter. That would be Wilson Contreras of the Red Sox.
Yeah, a couple reasons why. He's on the plate, kind of dives in, doesn't back out of the way, and plus, besides that, guys pitch him in a ton.
Well, the Mariners now have the bases loaded for Josh Naylor. A walk, an errant throw, and a hit batter.
Well, Josh has been aggressive pretty much all year long. He just got a 60-foot look at that changeup. Hunt something middle away right here. Get after it.
Ground ball up the middle. It takes Neto right to the bag. He steps on second and throws onto first. And a double play ball gets Urania out of the inning. He had the bases loaded with 1 out. The Mariners don't cash in, but they're plenty bruised after 1.
Answers now at the Home Depot.
The insurance you get brought to you by Pimco Insurance. We're looking at lowest opposing batting average on splitters. Treya Savage of the Blue Jays. They'll be here tomorrow. The lowest. Then Bryce Miller. Logan Gilbert right behind him, but they're hitting 125 on that split finger this year from Bryce. And there is strike 1. He got the strikeout to Guzman to end the first on the split.
Yeah, that pitch has been absolutely nasty. We talk all about the jump in velocity. The RPM's back up for Bryce Miller on that 4-seam, but that split's got that good extension through it. Got that good finish on it. So a couple of righties in that first inning.
0-2 to Soler, who has the longest active on base streak in the majors right now, 18 games. Always strikeout prone. Does not chase that splitter. Splitter and a changeup fairly interchangeable, right? It's rare to see a pitcher throw both. They normally have one or the other, although Gilbert has both.
Which is strange.
Which is straight. It is unusual,
because
right?
You think about it, right? You throw on anywhere from 3.5 to at most 4.5 pitches per at bat, right? So when you mix in both, when you think about it, unless you have some kind of crazy, odd, pitch arsenal under your,
You calling Gilbert odd and crazy?
I am, yeah.
Swing and a miss upstairs. Back-to-back strikeouts dating back to the first for Bryce Miller.
Yeah, 96 upstairs again. This has kind of been the foundation for Bryce Miller and all these other pitches we're talking about, the breaking balls and the split off of this pitch. Yeah, I think this is when he's at his best, when he's a little bit more fastball heavy. Doesn't try and trick guys. He kind of saves some of these secondary pitches for that second and third time through the lineup.
Meckler on the inner corner for strike 1.
We're talking about that split. I remember you brought this up in that first inning. I remember talking to Pete Woodworth at the end of that season. It was like, hey, I want to start throwing a split. He's like, well, hang on a minute. This takes time. And Pete said they're out during the bullpen session. And then Bryce just kind of took it upon himself to start throwing that pitch, kind of messing around with it. And Pete Woodworth was like, hey, man, this pitch is absolutely nasty. Let's make this a priority for next year. And has it ever been? Especially, too, he came up that first year and he was max effort, top of the strike zone. And all of a sudden he found some of these other weapons.
Fastball down and away, 1-2. Count evens up. 1 out, nobody on, top of the second. Does it seem like pitchers who throw a split are more likely to throw it to lefties and righties compared to those who throw a changeup, who will typically save it for just the hitter on the opposite side, right? It feels like swing and a miss on that splitter to a lefty. 3 straight punch outs for Bryce Miller.
Again, this one, look at the movement on it, right? So to answer your question, the one thing about Bryce Miller's split, yes, it acts very different to a changeup because of, obviously the rotations, the spin on it. It's one of these ones. It's not like a Logan Gilbert where it kind of has more of that knuckle to it, where the tumbling action, and then you get close into forkball territory. I think with Bryce too, just from even from our camera angle, the visual effect, there's another one. It acts a little bit more like a changeup. I think when it's better though, when he does have that good extension and he's got that good finish, it does have the diving action more like a split. But to answer your question, I think guys that typically throw a split, not like Bryce, he kind of developed this pitch in the big leagues. It's always been kind of that four seam split off of that. Where guys with a changeup, it's more of you go a little bit more left and right, and you're trying to simply change speeds as opposed to get swing and miss.
He's thrown back-to-back right on right splitters here. And he goes around. Well, Bryce too. He feels somewhat unique from the standpoint he can actually land his splitter for a strike.
Well, and that's the other element to that too, right? Where it acts a little bit more like a changeup. George Kirby wanted to start throwing the changeup because it was a higher command pitch. That split can be tough at times to really get a good feel of where that ball is headed.
One-two coming. Swing and a miss. The sweeper gets Adele fishing into the other batter's box. 4 straight strikeouts for Bryce Miller.
KeyBank.
Moments ago inside the Mariners dugout, Julio and Kyle Torgerson, Mariners trainer, continuing to talk after Julio was hit in the back of the helmet on a throw, running the bases in the first inning. Ooh, hello. Good take.
Welcome back. Oh, Cal Raleigh, welcome back to inning number 2. Like, I mean, man, that ball got away from Urania right there.
And Julio just made his way inside the clubhouse, we are being told. We'll see if that's a temporary thing or rest of the night thing. I mean, it's got to be kind of an auto take until the guy throws a strike after he hits the backstop, right?
yeah. Not to mention, too, I mean, you know, look, he's hit Randy on that pitch, kind of spraying the ball. You've been watching video all afternoon long, by the way, on him.
Okay, it's that fastball down and away. Well, the good for Urania is, man, he throws hard. Fastball averages 98. They're not hitting him around. An opposing batting average of under 220 and a ton of ground balls. I mean, those are all very good things to build around. A wave and a miss. There's that great changeup. That is certainly a positive for Urania. Well, this Saturday, the 4th of July, the Mariners are taking on the Blue Jays. It is part of the festivities. First 10,000 fans will take home this Stars and Stripes bucket hat thanks to Coca-Cola. Mariners.com/tickets. The bad news for Urania, he has one of the worst first pitch strike rates in baseball. Speaking of, and to go along with that, he has one of the highest walk rates of any starting pitcher in baseball. So command is certainly an issue, but he does a lot of things well, especially given his age, just 22 years old, his first big league season.
Yeah, that pitch is filthy. I mean, first chance we've really had a good look at it. Luke Raleigh coming back to the lineup with that right and left changeup. Got your hands full. But you can see where Hoppy's setting up pretty much right down the middle. On even the sinker too. Sinker changeup kind of comes out of that same tunnel down the way. It's got that movement to it. A lot of this too, when you're a 22-year-old, you know, kid who's throwing 98 with plus stuff, ton of movement, and then you got that you're working on right there, that sweeper, man. You are so close to locking it all in. We talked about the big inning, the command. Sometimes it couldn't just be like a visual. I talked about a Hoppy setting up middle of the plate. You know, the way you set up, you know, on the pitches, Robert, just little things like that, what you do with your head. You can be that close to kind of unlocking something, and then all of a sudden you can have some of that consistency.
A rare first pitch strike for Urania. You know, we take for granted the fact that he threw that sweeper at 87 miles an hour. That is normally what a more traditional slider would be thrown at, but to get that much break on that pitch at that velocity. Not to mention the fact for a lefty, the changeup down and away and the sweeper down and in, plus 98. That's a handful.
And just showing it too, like a situation where against the lefty, all of a sudden Raleigh goes back. Either got the iPad in the dugout, guys who, you know, Cole Young or Dom Canzone take a look and puts that in the back of your mind too. It's not a situation where you can just look in a certain area, a certain spot, like a lot of guys do against Urania when you have a plus changeup. All right, I'm seeing a sinker down and away and a changeup to react to. Now all of a sudden you got to cover both sides of the plate.
A wave and a miss on that changeup, and the side retired in order. 3 straight strikeouts for Urania. Well, Bryce Miller has punched out 4 in a row. He struck out the side in order in the second. And second inning was a tough one to hit with these two guys. We'll go to the third. Scott Hunter joins us next. Well, this happened in the first inning. Julio running to second. Shonowell's throw hits him in the back of the helmet. Julio popped up and ran into third and needed tending to there at third base, but stayed in the game. He was talking with Kyle Torgerson during the bottom of the second inning and eventually made his way inside the clubhouse. So Julio is out of the game, and Victor Robles has taken over in center field. Oswald Peraza leads things off in the third, and there is Victor getting all ready to go. Scoreless beginning the third inning as we're joined by Scott Hunter, the Mariners VP of Amateur Scouting. Scott, we see you during very specific times of the year, and this is one of them. It's great to have you.
No, I appreciate you guys having me. It's coming out of the shadows. It's that time of year.
Well, hey, we've got the draft coming up during the All-Star break, which is not long at all from now. What's the process like? What's the whiteboard looking like? Are we narrowing names down? What's the whole camp up to at this point in time?
Yeah, our guys have done a lot of work up to this point. We just started our major national draft meetings with our cross-checkers and all of our analysts and support team, and we're getting there. It's going to take a little bit. It's an interesting draft, maybe one of the harder ones that we've had in years. I mean, this is year 10, which is crazy to say for our group, and we're going to have to use a lot of the experience we've had over the past 9 or 10 years to really get through this one, because it's wide open. It's a little different picking 24 than it is 3 like last year.
Strikeout, like 5 in a row.
Field is to strike the batter and challenge you.
Looked like a pretty good pitch at the bottom of the zone. ABS powered by T-Mobile. Let's find out.
Pitch is a strike. Los Angeles has 1 challenge remaining.
That's 5 straight strikeouts for Bryce Miller to match a career best.
All right, Scott, tell us how intense is it inside that room the day of? Like, is it like, you know, like Hollywood intense where guys are yelling across the room, or is all the prep work already done?
Yeah, I think we're past the yelling at that point.
No, you gotta play it up for hyphen a little bit.
Yeah. We will get into some
Throwing computers across the room.
We'll get into that. Used to happen, you know, I think when we first started, but I think our group right now understands each other, how we've done things, and there's such a trust factor of, you know, how we get to our reasoning behind every selection. So, but it does, you know, it's like a game day. You know, it's like that big moment for everybody. All the scouts and all the work you do comes in up to that point in that moment. So you get, you know, pregame jitters like any day, but once you get into it and get moving on that day, it kind of just starts flowing like anything.
Quickly, 0-2. Well, speaking of the draft, Bryce Miller obviously drafted and developed by the Mariners. He's ahead of Josh Lowe, no balls and 2 strikes. He has never struck out 6 straight batters in his career. He's got a chance to do that facing Lowe in the driver's seat on an 0-2. Out to center field, Robles. Ball finds a new man, is back to the warning track to put it away. All right, so you mentioned it's a unique draft. What makes this year so unique?
Well, I think just because there's a lack of separation at the top. I think there's about 3 or 4 players that everybody reads in the publications and third parties that are likely to go pretty good, and then you're pretty much guaranteed. And I think over the last 10 years, we've been very good at narrowing wherever we pick in the draft, narrowing our pocket of players that we really like, that we think are going to be there, down to 3 or 4 names. I think this year, I think we have about 14 because that's the amount of, you know, parity right now, I guess, and lack of consensus at the top that, you know, once you get through probably pick 5 or 6, there could be a lot of wild scenarios that happen in regards to deal cutting, and just every team has a different flavor of player they look for. And I think our goal is just to be as prepared as possible and hope, guys like, Logan slipped in a draft, guys like
Kirby,
George. I mean, these guys, if we're prepared and to line up a board that gives us the opportunity to make decisions like that, I think that's a successful day.
Nothing to here on Logan O'Hoppe. Well, the Mariners certainly have a specific type of player that they like, and certainly a specific type of pitcher. And on a night like this, you've got a homegrown battery between Bryce Miller and Cal Raleigh. Here comes the 0-2. And this is low. I mean, how much time are you able to actually devote to watching your job getting ready for this year's draft?
Yeah, we always I'll have some text threads with a couple of the guys and some of our old draft picks, but a tendency to just leave them alone at this point. I come up here for the playoffs last year, come up here a few times a year, and it's always great to see. But it's really a humbling thing to see so many homegrown players on the field.
We're talking with Scott Hunter, the Mariners VP of Amateur Scouting, to the bottom of the third, scoreless.
The Doc in the Box.
Tonight's Wells Fargo active mic. That's right. Headset on is helpful. Nice job, Hyphen. Ready to be locked in. We're with Scott Hunter, who's the Mariners VP of Amateur Scouting. We were just
Hyphen. That was I just caught that. That was pretty good.
During the break, Hyphen was just having fun with you, talking about when you guys get on camera in the draft room, how everybody looks locked in all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Hyphen, he looks pretty locked in now, doesn't he? I mean, the Mariners do all the social media videos. There's MLB Network. So, like, when you guys see a camera in the draft room, you got to look like you're about to pick somebody.
Yeah, there's ways to make it look like it's really intense, I would say. I think by the time the cameras turn on, we've already know what we're doing, but you got to be careful of the hot mic. The hot mic is the scary thing.
Okay. Hey, the minor league baseball and Major League Baseball just announced the Futures game, and it's the minor league all-star game. Normally higher levels of the minor leagues compete in the Futures game over All-Star weekend, and it's not a surprise, but it's still great nonetheless. Cade Anderson and Ryan Sloan will both be representing the Mariners. Baseball America has Sloan as the top pitching prospect, and Cade, with his microscopic ERA that starts with a 1, as the number 3 pitching prospect in baseball. I mean, what has it been like for you watching their incredible success in the Texas League this year?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, obviously. I mean, the text threads between our scouts and especially our cross-checkers, that so many people were involved in those decisions. To see those guys get off to a great start, just it allows you to really trust what you've done as a scouting group, because it kind of all came together. Not only their talent, but the kind of kids and kind of people they are, and to see them flourish in our system is a credit to our group, and just it's just a proud thing. I mean, it's exciting to see so many guys on the field, but knowing there's another crop of players coming makes us feel really good as an organization.
Scott, we just saw Colt Emerson, obviously, his rise to the big leagues, but take us through kind of getting to know him, the evaluation is for him, from a character standpoint, not just, watching him and obviously all the physical tools, but some of the evaluation that goes into getting to know him and his family and everything that goes into making the right choice.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest, parts of our process, is getting to know the player. Our area scouts, we tell them all the time, it's something that I really believed in when I got here, was tell us what they do on the field, but give me more about who they are off the field.
Well, this is shot out towards the gap in right center field, and it hangs up enough for Lowe to make the catch.
Yeah, we use the word, like, how is the kid wired? Does he love the game, or does he love the preparation that goes into being a good player? And those are kind of the character kids that I guess we really set a standard for. And Colt and Cole and all the guys, all our pitching staff, like, they are high character, high baseball IQ guys that not only love to play, they're good teammates, but they're always challenging themselves to be a little bit better. And when you can get a group of talented young men like that to really buy into not only what we do as an organization, but buy into each other and challenge each other, you see great things happen on the field.
Baseball is so unique when it comes to the draft. It's not a situation where, well, we need a quarterback. So when you approach the first round, is it every year, is it the same, just best player available?
For the most part, yes. You're never going to walk away from someone that you think is really good because you think, well, we already have a shoot. You never know what's going to happen in the future, obviously. But at the end of the day, I think, it was in 2019 when we took a lot of pitching that's actually out here right now. It was, sitting down with Jerry and Justin and saying, okay, if things are equal, is there something we really need? And that was the year we took a lot of pitching, and it kind of worked out. So you never go take a lesser player because of a need, but you always be aware of what your organization is needing at the time.
Robles is hit by a pitch on the back forearm. This is the second hit batter, both, by the way, on an 0-2 count. Julio has already had to leave the game because of a throw that hit him in the back of the helmet on the base paths.
And you feel like it's going to be one of those nights with Urania kind of missing arm side a ton. Talked about that changeup sinker, but that command can be an issue. Scott, I got one for you. When you're looking at, you're talking about obviously positional, you know, what areas of need. What about from a high school to a college player, the difference? And obviously looking at what the system has in regards to, you know, the timeline for some of these players where you go after a younger player compared to a more of a ready to go college player.
Yeah, I think it's something that, you know, Jerry and I talked about, or even asked Jerry, because when we first started this thing in 2017, we were very college heavy to start. And it was kind of strategic and just trying to build the floor of our organization. And then when the 2023 draft came, we took a lot of upside high school guys, as well as, you know, Harry Ford in 2021, Cole Young in 22. But we really got aggressive in 23 because our core group was already here. So you just try to look into, maybe we can get another wave of talent coming that someday can get here or help us in trades. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me, high school or college. You always lean a little bit college because you know a little bit more. But when you get your true superstars and your two impact guys, I mean, you look at Colt Emerson. I mean, it's just, you're not going to just say, yeah, he's a high school guy, I'm going to move on. But he was mature for his age. He's an unbelievable player, unbelievable person. He checked a lot of boxes, and you just go ahead and take him.
It looks like Victor is okay, needing a little tending to. 2 outs and a man on. A quick story time with Scott Hunter, the Mariners VP of Amateur Scouting. You have a roundabout connection to Cal Raleigh.
Yeah, it's a funny story. Not funny, but his uncle Matt Raleigh, his father's brother, was my minor league roommate in 1997, of all things. And now my youngest son is playing college baseball in Binghamton, New York, so now I get to see Matt quite a bit. It's a small world for sure, and it's a great family. Obviously, we know what Cal has done for us and this organization and this city. It's just a kind of unique relationship that, you know, Cal's pretty stoic, but I do get a lot of, he responds to text messages fast, and then he's very involved in asking me what we're going to do in the draft. So,
oh, is he? All right.
Yeah, he does. He's in tune to it for sure.
That's awesome. Scott, man, we really appreciate it. You've done such masterful work for the Mariners, and we always appreciate you carving out some time.
No, thank you guys. It's been great.
Best in the business, Scott Hunter, who oversees the Mariners draft, VP of Amateur Scouting for the M's, Mariners, and the Angels. Scoreless.
27.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Bryce Miller, 10 swings and misses already through just 3 innings.
Yeah, and the one that stands out to me, well, the 5 that stand out to me is on that 4-seam. I just think when he can have that as the foundation, everything else plays off that, just like that split right there, especially first time through the lineup too for Bryce.
Facing Neto for the second time, their leadoff man. 9 out of 10 first pitch strikes. Routine fly ball out to right field. All right, so on a night where Bryce Miller has thrown a first pitch strike to nearly everyone, and Urania has done just the opposite, when you look at how these two pitching staffs have been built since 2021, the Angels are 25th and 29th in quality starts and first pitch strike rate. The Mariners are the best in baseball in both. Now, those two stats aren't everything, but they certainly are a starting point, and the first pitch strike mindset the Mariners have, it's the bedrock of their pitching philosophy.
Yeah, it is. And you know, we just had Scott Hunter in the room, in the booth with us, and this is something that is just absolutely drilled into you when you are in A ball and then into AA. And if you want to keep progressing through the system, that philosophy of dominate the strike zone, it's at times it can sound cliche, but when you're as a player, but when you are a player, all of a sudden you identify what is pitch number 1, pitch number 2 that I can get inside the strike zone and be comfortable just setting up some of this weak contact and being 0-1 on every hitter. And you can see the results, obviously, getting deep into games with ease.
4 pitches and 2 outs. It needs to roll over to Cole Young. But you would think, just tell your guys to throw it over the plate, right? Like
yeah. You know, I had Cliff Lee as a teammate, right? And he came in 2010, and I remember I had, the pitching coach and the, part of the whole pitching development say, hey, we want you to spend time with Cliff Lee because, he's a left-handed pitcher, he's a stud, he just won a Cy Young. And you couldn't, him and my personality were completely opposite, right? And I kept talking to him like, hey, Cliff, how do you throw this pitch? He goes, hey, man, just get ahead in the count. Like, what? That was his go back to everything. And I remember thinking back to him, like, no, give me something, man. Like, when I have this, because I was struggling at the time, I'm like, give me something. And he's like, yeah, you just got to get in better counts. It's J.P. Crawford throw these balls away.
Guzman into second. It's the first base runner tonight for the Angels.
Now, one thing we're looking at with J.P. Crawford, switching position here. Has been solid there at third base. This is more routine. He's got plenty of time. Just airmails this, gets a little.
It does feel as though, at least recently, at least since the transition to third base in particular, it's the plays where he has
time.
Too much time.
Yeah, for sure. We saw him backhand and make that longer throw right behind the bag. And we saw that a little bit at shortstop too in the beginning of the season.
Here's Soler. So Cliff Lee wouldn't give you the secret sauce, huh?
Like, give me something. I'm like, can you just pay attention when I'm pitching? And he'd come in, he's like, yeah, man, you're in bad counts. And I'm like, I'm sitting there like, come on, man. And he said, he goes, hey, I got DFA'd a couple of years ago before I won that Cy Young. I was like, yeah, okay, he's leading into something. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, because I was in bad counts. I'm like, come on, man. It's got to be more than that. But it's funny, and as simple as that sounds, right? It's something. It's like, hey, you teach it to pitchers. I mean, I heard Gabe Spire out here talking to kids pregame on the top of the dugout, and a 12-year-old said, hey, what tips do you have on the left-handed pitcher? He goes, learn how to throw strikes, understand what the little things are. There's Gabe working with the kids today.
Modern day Cliff Lee.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we talked about that strike percentage for him. But he said. It was interesting. He didn't go into this kind of detail with a 12-year-old, but it's pretty much, it's identify what are the little things that get you in an area of the strike zone that you can fall back on as a safety net when things don't feel quite right. Because that's when it goes awry, where it feels like you don't have your best stuff that day. You feel like you got to be middle of the plate, and that's when you start getting hit.
2 outs and a man at second. Soler at the plate.
I mean, mind you, Cliff Lee, man, like I said, I loved him as a teammate, but just the most dry, just monotone conversation. But I asked him, he pitched in the World Series prior to that with the Phillies. I said, hey, man, I remember you had loaded bases in Yankee Stadium, and you got that pop-up. He goes, yeah, I don't remember who I was facing. I'm like, excuse me? That's just how he was. Just play Candy Crush after you get 9 shutout. That was him.
Splitter gets Soler. Runner stranded at second base. 6th strikeout for Bryce Miller. On to the bottom of the 4th. Randy getting set to lead things off.
Start your home story on Thumbtack.
Saturday, July 11th, come out to the ballpark for the inaugural Batter Up Brew Fest. You can enjoy tastings from over 20 breweries and catch the Mariners road game against the Rays on the big screen. Tickets on sale now. Mariners.com/brewfest. Randy takes that breaking ball on the inner edge for strike one. He was hit by a pitch. One of 2 hit batters tonight from Urania. Neither side with a hit early on tonight. 0-2.
Yeah, you hope that first inning from the Mariners doesn't come back at the bottom. They had some traffic against Urania. Don't let him get settled in. Fortunately, Josh Naylor hit into that double play. It is strange they're going 2 games against the Angels, having a day off, and then boop, we got the Angels again.
It's a very different feeling.
It is, right?
It feels like there was a rainout yesterday or something.
Yeah.
World Cup action yesterday across the street, so no baseball for the Mariners and the Angels. Final game of the series tonight. Blue Jays are already in town. Mariners are playing the Jays tomorrow. Way outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Angels will be flying home late tonight and will be home to host the Red Sox. What a weird schedule for the Angels. They fly to Seattle for 3. That's it. And then fly home, play tomorrow night, 3 against the Red Sox, and then head out to the road again. They fly to Arlington and then on to Minnesota. That's how they will end the first half. That sweeper's really backing up on him. It's a full count now. Long at bat for Randy. This will be pitch number 9 to Arozarena. Here it comes. Lofts this out towards right center field, and it hangs up enough for Adele to make the catch. 1 away. Message now from Jack in the Box.
Get fired up with my new Hot Ones Munchie Meal with a Sriracha Curly Fry Burger or Buffalo Chicken Tater Melt.
Welcome to Jack in the Box.
1 down for Josh Naylor. We were talking Cliff Lee. Didn't Cliff have some insane goal? It was a walks or first pitch strikes or something along those lines where he
Probably. Yeah.
He obviously one of the great command pitchers of his era. Swing and a miss. Cy Young Award winner. Won that with Cleveland back in 2008. And he was great all the way to the end of his career.
Yeah, he was. Man, I mean, it was just auto 0-1 every time. Every time he looked up, it felt like it was 0-2 on every hitter.
Off the end of the bat, Neto circles around this, and it's in time. 2 outs. Naylor retired. Here comes Cal Raleigh. Isn't it funny that when you're trying to find out from Cliff the secret sauce?
Yeah.
That sometimes we're watching it every night.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's easy. It's simple, but it's not easy.
That's a good way to put it. And I remember at the time I'd get frustrated because it's like you're hoping for this answer, especially because I was struggling, right? So I'm like hoping he goes, hey man, you need to try this or this grip or something, like, oh boom, just unlock this, keys to the kingdom. And he kept saying the same message over and over. And then looking back, I'm like, man, he was onto something. He really was, But you talk about a guy who would not get phased, rattled by anything. Man, he pitched a game in New York. It was around the trade deadline. That was around the time where all these trades were starting, all these rumors were happening, and all these reporters were in our locker room. Goes out, throws a complete game against the Yankees. And, comes out of that, all this trade talk. And he's just, I remember I came back into the clubhouse and he's, no joke, Candy Crush was massive. So he's just sitting there on his iPad playing Candy Crush. And these reporters are just waiting. He's like, oh, you guys, sorry. Like, puts it away. I'm like, man, the dude, he was just built different. And it was an intense, time of the year, Yankee Stadium, shutting out a really good lineup. And I'm like, man, him and I are very different, apparently.
Up and in on Cal. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Honestly, one of the things that's most impressive about the Mariners and all those first pitch strikes since 21 that we were showing, the highest first pitch strike rate in the league, is how the Mariners continue to pound that drum and not make it stale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Because when you tell the same group of pitchers, by and large, year over year, the same message, pretty easy for that to kind of go away. But the Mariners have efforted greatly to keep that message fresh with the same, obviously, mindset, but to message it differently and to keep it from kind of becoming tired. And the Mariners continue year in and year out to be one of the very best at getting ahead. And the proof's in the pudding. Cal strikes out. Now both sides looking for a hit as we make our way to the 5th.
Power to do. Bank of America.
What a mess this game's turned out to be on the injury front. It started in the bottom of the 1st inning. This throw from Shotwell hits Julio in the back of the helmet. He eventually had to come out of the game. Randy gets drilled by a fastball at 98. Needed tended to, but stayed in. And not long ago, Victor Robles, who took over for Julio, he gets hit in the forearm. So with all that in mind, Julio is out. Now Robles, his replacement, is also out. Raley has moved from right to center, and Weston Wilson is off the bench in right field. Mariners have 2 men left on the bench. Garver and recently added Buddy Kennedy. Man.
Yeah, some of those command issues, obviously, from Urania. The one, though, that I'm going to call it scary, but is concerning, especially, too, when...
This is caught. Wow. It's the second fair catch in the last week or so from Josh Naylor. He caught it twice.
Now, staying with this ball was smashed right over his head. Look at that. Staying with that play. Nice. Keeping his feet inside the line, too, it looked like.
Look at you, American football.
That's right. Watch this. Oh, we missed it. Here we go.
Tiptoeing. And shows possession.
Yeah.
Joe Adele, the batter.
Yeah, but the one to Julio Rodriguez, he pulled up at third base, said he was okay, and then all of a sudden, you could tell he was a little bit dizzy. Kyle Torgerson had to come out, and they weren't messing around with him once he got back in the dugout after being out in the field.
Now, for as well as Bryce has pitched tonight, he's been nearly flawless. We have not seen the big fastball from Bryce Miller tonight. Fastball velo about 95 to 96. One. But what he has lacked in the upper end velocity, he is certainly more than made up with command.
Yeah, you see that four-seam fastball a little bit down. I mean, he was coming out pumping some 99s that first game. Coming a little bit back down to earth. The one thing, and Goldie, you and I have talked about this a lot, is look at some of the RPM on that pitch. He's about 2,500. He's in a good spot. You can see him kind of unleashing on that 197. But I think, too, also, as the game goes along, he's starting to see a little bit more of the split sweeper against these hitters because, they, especially the righties, they are going to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think he'll pick his spots when to unleash. Kind of overthrew that one right there at 97.
Now, does the RPM on the fastball affect more the velocity or how it plays?
Just how it plays. It's got just that finish to it and just that defying gravity motion. I mean, it's one of the best when you talk about vertical break or lack of from Bryce Miller in a good way. Man, when he was at the top of the zone and you're talking about 2,600 RPM.
Soft fly ball. Rayleigh, who just took over in center field, comes in and he makes the catch. 2 outs.
And I think, too, from an arm health or a stamina point of view as well, as we're getting into the 5th inning, we're 50 to 60 pitches in, and you can see how Bryce, the last couple of fastballs, he tried to let it eat. He kind of reared back, and especially with 2 strikes.
And very efficient so far tonight. There's Peraza with 2 outs and nobody on. Naylor angling back. Shallow right field. Mariners first baseman makes the catch. Another easy breezy inning. 1, 2, 3, top of the 5th. Bryce Miller in the rocking chair through 5.
So in Sportage Vehicles.
On August 8th, the Mariners are hosting one of the biggest events of the year. It's 50 Season Celebration Night presented by Daktronics. You can witness an iconic gathering of franchise greats as the top 50 Mariner players are unveiled and honored right here at T-Mobile Park. Mariners.com/50. Luke Raley leads it off. Bottom third of the order. A run of lefties. Now Luke missing a little bit of time with a forearm issue, and he and Dom Canzone both had game 2 off. The Mariners were hoping that giving them the second game of the series plus yesterday's scheduled off day would get them back in the lineup, and good news, they're both in there tonight. As Raley shaking his head after that swing and a miss. 1-2. Ground ball. Neto is there. Cut of the grass, and Raley is out. Here comes Cole Young. Cole Young in the opening game of the series, his first career multi-homer game. And if you look at the state of things in the American League among second basemen, Cole third in OPS, second in WRC plus home runs. Obviously defensive runs saved. He's leading the charge as well. It's been a breakout year defensively for Cole in many ways. I mean, it's been a really impressive first half.
Really has. I think the thing that stands out to me with Cole, and saw a couple of them the other night, the multi-home run game, but just starting to see a little bit more of that consistent driving the ball with some authority. I think the power is starting to show up, picking his spots when you get that swing off.
Hitting for a good average, good on base. Strikes out below league average clip with some pop. Yeah, I don't know if 20 home runs is going to happen this year for Cole. It certainly could. He's almost halfway there, but he's 22 years old. It's his first full major league season, and you have to imagine that a 20 homer campaign is coming at some point not too long from now for Cole Young. And it could be this year. Here's Cole Emerson. Top line strike at 97.
It's getting very similar to Tuesday. Went up against Jose Soriano. Command issues, but landing pitches. It was the 6th inning where they broke through Julio with that leadoff hit, and they put up some runs, knocked him out of the game. You see him trying to finish some of these lefties off with that sweeper.
Angie, how we doing down there?
Pay attention.
That literally just nearly took out my iPad and my 2 front teeth, but I'm still spry, guys.
Broken back grounder over to third base. Guzman gets the throw there in time. Angie, glad all is well. 5 in the books. You know, at this rate, we could be here a while. Mariners TV is brought to you by UW Medicine. Research gives hope to those in need and creates healthier futures for all. UW Medicine, a higher degree of health care. And by Northwest Buick GMC. See your Northwest GMC dealer today. Cloudy day around town. That's the state of things. Now, why are you laughing?
I'm not. I just didn't press the cough button.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I was looking at your reaction as you showed the scoreboard.
Josh Lowe leads it off. He's got a 9-game hit streak. Two 2-0. Fly ball right field. It backs up Weston Wilson. He's got room and makes the catch. That's about as much of a threatening ball in play as the Angels have had tonight.
Right. When Bryce's reaction, Weston Wilson went back hard on this ball, and you're thinking to yourself, he's watching the flight. Look at him. He's like, oh. Watching Weston Wilson back up. Nothing to worry about. Take a breath.
Is Bryce protecting himself there? Is he protecting?
Hey, I will say,
protecting his emotions with that?
If you notice, Bryce, you know how the ABS challenge. You watch Bryce from time to time. He just naturally kind of taps the top of his head. Not there. There it is. A little too late. But there's times where he does it kind of quick after a pitch, and I don't know. Maybe they've had a word with him, say, "Hey, look, you're going to throw the umpire off here. He's going to think you want to challenge."
You know, in all seriousness, in spring training this year, Pete Woodworth brought up the point that Bryce touches his head a lot.
So this has been discussed. Okay, good. it's been addressed.
This is like when COVID happened and they told you not to touch your face.
Yeah.
and
You're right.
None of us knew how much we all touched our
Yeah.
face over the course of the day. It's the same was true for Bryce. Probably had no idea that he touched the top of his hat as often as he does. Then ABS rolls around. Ball and 2 strikes to Logan O'Hoppe. Can't help it. Still 1-2. Top of the order is next. 1 out, nobody on.
As good as Bryce has been, you can still see at times showing a little bit of frustration. There's been a couple of splits he's thrown to these lefties that's kind of cut on him a little bit. You can see right away gets frustrated. That one a little bit there on O'Hoppe, but he's too busy watching that ball flight.
Ooh, Payne down and away at 97 miles an hour.
The field is a strike. The batter is challenging.
O'Hoppe is challenging. That's one of the best fastballs that Bryce has thrown tonight. See if he gets paid off for it. And he does.
Pitch is a strike. Los Angeles is out of challenges.
No challenges left for the Angels.
Goldie, we were talking about this with Bryce Miller, looking at that velocity. I think he's picking his spots when he can just kind of let it eat, right? That 97. And Cal was trying to get that pitch up, but you'll take it. O'Hoppe think he's going to get a split right there. Froze on that pitch down and away.
Third time through, here is Neto. He was geared up and saw a splitter. Seven strikeouts tonight for Bryce. His career high is 11. He has done that twice, including his last start against the Pirates. And the first time he did it was last year against these Angels. Oh man, after that first pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, the way that Neto swung at that first pitch, which was a splitter, it kind of felt like he might see another one.
Again, stays in the strike zone with really good arm speed. More life at the end of that pitch.
Three in a row, he lays off this one. The 1-2. 4 straight.
Yeah, sticking with that split. Look, Zach Neto, there's been plenty of swing and miss all season for him against breaking balls. George Kirby got him with a changeup that third time through. See if he unleashes on a 97, top part of the strike zone right here. Back to that. There's that breaking ball.
In play, over to Colt Emerson. On to first. What a night it's been for Bryce Miller through 6 scoreless innings. The Angels have hardly had a base runner. Well, the next Mariners fireworks night coming up tomorrow. You can kick off your Independence Day celebrations. A special post-game patriotic fireworks show presented by T-Mobile and 98.9 The Bull. JP looks at a first pitch strike. Mariners nothing, Angels nothing. This ball is out to the gap and touches down, base hit. JP on his way, tiptoeing into second base. The game's first hit. JP Crawford in scoring position.
Yeah, in the first hit of the night, you kind of seeing this ball where, first of all, tough pitch to get to. That changeup has been so good all night long, paired with that sinker. But you can see kind of Josh Lowe just giving up on this. Really no chance. Giving J.P. Crawford a chance to walk into second base. Mariners are in business.
Only Mariners base runner since the first inning was a Robles hit by pitch in the third. Wilson squaring to bunt and bunts it back foul. Well, this ends here in the bottom of the sixth inning. I will not read what our hot corner says. I will not be guilty by association. Wilson pulls back. I don't know. I don't know who lights me up more on this kind of stuff. People watching or the Mariners pitching staff.
They're lighting you up?
Oh,
for bringing it up.
Man. Logan Gilbert and I had a 10-minute heart-to-heart today.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Did
I was
you hear us yelling?
Surprised. No, I didn't see you guys talking, but you were talking about it afterwards. You kind of name dropping a little bit, saying, "Yeah, Logan Gilbert listens to me during the game." I was like, hey, easy.
Yeah, look at it, Logan. Look,
he was just back there.
Yeah, he doesn't look.
Goldsmith,
He doesn't look
favorite.
vicious, but that's a mean person right there. The 1-2. Of course, Logan's not mean. He's the biggest sweetheart in the American League. But
So what went down? What happened?
Well, he was not pleased with the Brian Wu no-hit graphic that we were running out there a couple of nights ago. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And I said to Logan, in a very matter-of-fact way, I said, "Now, Logan, did Brian Wu break?"
He's talking about you right now,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah," and then Goldsmith said this. Can you believe it?
He's smiling too much to be talking about me. I said, "Now, did Brian Wu break the record that we were referring to?" And he said, "Well, yeah, but he would have thrown like 50 scoreless innings in a row if it wasn't for that." And I said, "So just to be clear, the difference between Wu breaking the record and breaking the record by 20 more innings was our graphic." And he said, "That's correct."
So in other words, he didn't want us to mention the fact that it was just historic and just domination for another 20 or so home innings. Is that right?
They don't.
Come on.
They don't want to know.
Come on, Logan.
No,
Gilbert.
they don't want the good people of the Northwest.
That's right. You're holding us back.
So
now, what if you had said something, or we showed the graphic and he didn't get it? Had he been turned into Walter on you, or what?
Oh, if he didn't get it and the graphic was up, it's all over for me, because I'm in control of everything, as you know.
That's right.
Including
Aaron Goldsmith show.
Including everything that happens on the field. That people think it's unscripted. Little do they know that we pull all the strings up here. 3-2. Wilson down on strikes. If you're wondering why Weston Wilson is batting second in the order today, Julio started but had to leave the game after a throw went off the back of his helmet as he was running the bases. Victor Robles took over for him. Victor had to leave the game after being hit on the arm by a pitch. So Weston Wilson is the third different Mariner in the number 2 spot in the lineup tonight. Canzone the batter.
Well, that's a big strikeout for Urania, he's been better and better since that first inning. You were talking about. And you got Dom Canzone.
His last 25 games have just been exceptional. 329 the average, an OPS of over 1,000, and a WRC plus. It doesn't even seem like a real number. Remember, 100 is league average. Yeah, the reason why that WRC plus is so high is because it takes into account not only all the times that Dom has been on base, which obviously is quite a bit when you look at that average, plus any walks that he's drawn, but it also includes all the slug, the doubles, and more specifically the home runs have really helped to elevate that number. Good take on a changeup well outside. Back-to-back 3-ball counts. You know, for a guy who has one of the highest walk rates in baseball in Orania, he has only walked 1 tonight. Now he's hit 2 batters.
Yeah, and he usually falls into patterns. He hasn't done that tonight because he's gotten in counts like this and then going back to that changeup. Ooh, and dropping that. Man, that's. I went back and watched his last outing. He struggled, gave up 7 runs. He didn't have that in a 3-1 count. That is for sure. And all of a sudden, Dom Canzone has to protect a little bit. He's got 3 pitches to fight off.
Well, there's a walk. Mariners have 2 on. One out, 2 on for the Mariners, threatening here in the bottom of the 6th inning. After the Mariners game on Sunday, all kids 14 and under can participate in Kids Run the Bases thanks to Brooks. You can lace up the running shoes and get ready to take a trip around the bases just like the big leaguers. Mariners.com/tickets. Bullpen is up. Sammy Natera, fairly hard-throwing lefty, getting loose in a hurry. They're putting the pitch comm in his hat. Mike Maddox with a last word or two to his young starting pitcher. So the Mariners have Canzone at first and JP at second.
Yeah, again, we're talking about a 22-year-old pitcher, command issues, having a really good night. And now all of a sudden the game speeds up a little bit. And these are those separators, right, which can turn your career into being a solid starting pitcher in the big leagues. Can you get through these situations?
This ball is slapped down the line and foul. Well, the Mariners have not had many opportunities. Neither team has, obviously, tonight.
And we saw this against Jose Soriano last night. Was brilliant. And got to that 6th inning. Mariners pressed him. He was out of the game.
A combined 0 for 3, these two teams with runners in scoring position. Mariners not had a chance like this since the 1st inning. 1 out, 2 on. Oh, Hoppy does a nice job keeping that in front of him as Rosarena gets ahead. The 2-1. And the dirt. That's 3 straight 3-ball counts from Urania.
Again, showing the ability to drop in that breaking ball 3-1 count to Dom Canzone, but a little bit different situation right here. If I'm Randy Rosarena, I'm sitting on something straight. That little sinker he throws, middle of the plate right here, and getting after it. Second guessing.
Now this is very likely Urania's last batter, with Naylor on deck, lefty warming. The 3-1.
He did just that. See Randy frustrated, kind of pulling off that pitch. That pitch was down and away. A little too quick.
And Randy calling time. One out, 2 on. Naylor on deck. Randy trying to cash in here in the 6th. Tell you what else. This is the first time that Bryce Miller's had to sit for a while.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's been that nice rhythm to this game. But you will take it, that is for sure, if Randy can come up big right here in the 6th inning, get into that bullpen potentially.
Canzone at first, Crawford at second. On a 3-2. Ground ball chopping foul.
Yeah, good job right there from Randy. His timing is off on a couple of these sinkers, and he gets that plus changeup, able to fight it off.
Next pitch will be number 8 to Rosarena. Trying to put the Mariners in front here in the 6th inning. Up and in, and Randy draws a walk. So the bases are loaded. Back-to-back walks from Urania. Let's see if that's enough to make a change for Kurt Suzuki.
Yeah, Goldie, these are those at-bats we just didn't see on that road trip. Some of this fight in these innings, right in the 6th, 7th inning, where you got a situation where you're facing Urania with a plus stuff, but you're able to fight through at 3-2, and it becomes a breaking point with a young pitcher who does have command issues. There's only so many times you can land some of these pitches in the strikes, and he's throwing. He mixed in that changeup. He's able to execute, but again, just trying to overthrow right there, 3-2. He's a little exhausted now, and Randy Rosarena's on pretty much every pitch.
All right, so he's sticking with them. This is the second time the Nailers come up with the bases loaded. Grounded into an inning-ending double play back in the first. Bags packed. The 0-1. A changeup, man, that's got some movement. 0-2.
Yeah, you get ahead in the count. We talked about this early in the game. You can throw that right there. Nasty pitch to the lefty.
Now Naylor's got a battle now. The 0-2. Naylor strikes out, and the Mariners still have runners all around.
Again, you can tell this swing where it's just kind of that late emergency hack from Josh. Now the guy has a ton of plate coverage. But I think the difference here, man, when you got a guy like Urania, we talked about the sink and the changeup, you can sit something middle away. The difference is that we saw him against Cal Roll and a couple of these other hitters show that breaking ball on the other side of the plate, and that was the difference. And that's why you're seeing that kind of swing.
Strike one to Cal. Bases loaded, 2 outs.
Tying him up. Everything down and away, down and in, and then it's 97 up around the hands.
Check swing foul. So after he walked back-to-back hitters, he has thrown nothing but strikes to Naylor and now Cal Raleigh. The 30th pitch of the inning misses in the dirt, and there is ball 1 to Cal.
We stuck with him, Kurt Suzuki.
102 pitches.
Away, yeah.
Bases loaded, 2 outs. This is foul. A little early on a changeup, and it's still 1-2. Now the Mariners getting their first hit this inning. J.P. Crawford's leadoff double, now looking for the game's first run. Bases loaded, 2 outs, a ball and 2 strikes. Next pitch to Cal.
Starting to recognize that velocity at the top of the zone. The first one he swung through, he was able to get some bat to that pitch he fouled off. This time laying off it.
The 2-2. It's a full count.
Yeah, biggest pitch he's going to make all night long to try and get through this 6th inning. But does he have enough here to feel good about throwing the changeup?
Crowd rising to its feet. Bases loaded, 2 outs. The 3-2. Another foul ball. Once again in front of a change. And Cal needs a new bat.
Yeah, he went down 2 strikes. And again, this is that changeup 3-2. This is what's making him so tough. 3-2 in some of these counts where you essentially could get a pitcher, a young 22-year-old, to give in. Cal just able to fight that pitch off.
His next pitch will match a career high, his 107th tonight. Randy an 8-pitch at bat. Cal, it will be at least a 9-pitch AB. A possible game-defining at-bat here with Cal Raleigh at the plate of the bases loaded. The 3-2. It's high outside, ball 4. A bases-loaded walk. The Mariners on the board. They lead it 1-0 in the 6th inning.
Wow, what an at-bat from Cal Raleigh, right? We're talking about the timing of the swing, slowly coming back, getting that power back. But, man, he goes down from a count 1-2 count, 3-2, draws a walk. Mariners get that first run. Huge at-bat to knock out Urania.
3 walks for Urania in the inning. He walks in the game's first run. And that's it for the Angels starter. We've got a pitching change in the bottom of the 6th.
Welcome back. We just saw Cal Raleigh walk to bring in the first run of the game, and this is really a theme that we've been seeing. Look at his walk rate. It is more than doubled here in June and as we begin July. His chase rate is going down, guys. His on-base percentage over 100 points higher. He is making way better swing decisions, and it just paid off in this game.
Bases loaded walk. Mariners lead. Sammy Natera is on the mound now, facing Luke Raley left on left. You know, hopefully that will lead to bigger and better things for Cal Raleigh, but it has been wonderful to see him on base more often. Bags packed for Luke Raley. The Mariners do not have much of a bench left tonight. Garver and Buddy Kennedy. Oh, 2. Natera, a very young pitcher. Just his 9th career appearance.
That's a tough look left on left. Especially Luke Raley missing some time.
The 0-2. He struck him out. Raley strikes out facing the lefty. The Mariners leave him loaded, but they do get the game's first run. Cal Raleigh, a bases loaded walk. And the Mariners have given Bryce Miller a 1-0 lead going to the 7th. This smile moment is brought to you by Delta Dental of Washington, supporting healthy smiles across Washington. Mariners have taken the lead. They've already won this series. They took the first 2 games. They're looking for the sweep with a win tonight. Nolan Shotwell looks at a first pitch strike. It's the first extended downtime in the game for Bryce Miller. That long bottom of the 6th that included a pitching change. Bryce's previous pitch was thrown at roughly 8:03. So call it 25 minutes ago or so, and been in a pretty back and forth rhythm. Both these pitchers hanging zeros 1 inning after another.
Yeah, especially as it gets later too, right? So you get to that 70+ pitches, you're already starting to feel a bit of that fade going on. You get that 1 run. They're already here quickly, 0-2. Always takes you a good 5 to 6 pitches to get that max effort feel, especially if you want to let one eat as well. I think
the 0-2. This is hanging up shallow right field, and it drops in. It found that perfect spot in the Bermuda Triangle in right field, and Nolan Shotwell with a leadoff base hit to begin the 7th inning.
Man.
First hit tonight for the Angels.
Little jam shot into right field. Well executed pitch. 96 up and in. Just no man's land right there. Weston Wilson gave best effort.
The only other base runner, I should say, was Stinzer Guzman, who reached on an error in the 4th inning. So the perfect game was gone, but a no-hitter was intact through 6 innings for Bryce. Guzman at the plate here.
+2. I mean, man, this is a tough one for Bryce for obviously obvious reasons, but also too that pitch count, right? He's hovering around mid-70s, so you're looking at that, you start doing the math in your head a little bit. If I can get through this inning in the 7th quick, doesn't put me in a situation where the Mariners want to look after him if he's going to go 100+.
Wilson comes in, and it's off his glove. He laid out for it. Shonowell is into second base. Guzman is aboard. So back-to-back base hits for the Angels.
And the ball bouncing away from Weston Wilson right here, but for Shonowell, kind of pulled up about halfway in between first and second, so no chance you could take advantage of this getting away from Weston Wilson and getting into third base.
It's moot now with the other hit, but if you go back to the Shonowell, that parachute single to begin the inning, take us inside the pitcher's mindset. Would you rather it be just a rocket someplace than a, I don't want to call it a cheap hit, but a hit that you feel like when you see the quality of contact, you feel like that's an out.
Yeah, it's frustrating, right? You're like, oh man. And back to my point too. Look, if you're hovering around here in the 7th where it's 95 pitches, you're like, all right, just press the reset button. You're getting away from that. You're all good. Okay, just get this next out because we've got a 1-0 lead. But selfishly, I guess if you're Bryce Miller, you're looking at that saying, all right, mid-70s pitches. I've been in that nice rhythm. Had some really low stress innings, so it can be frustrating for sure.
Soler. That is a big league pop-up. Where will it end? It will get into the crowd.
I had a no-hitter into the 7th inning. We're playing against the Blue Jays on a Sunday afternoon, I remember, and I was out of gas, man. I went back out for the 7th inning, and I just felt like, for whatever reason, like I can't remember what my pitch count was, but it was pushing. And I was like, okay, I've got a no-hitter going, man. Like, it was wild. First time ever I've gotten that deep with 0 hits on the board. A couple walks, I believe. But I come back out, and it was Aaron Hill, whack, base hit. And a part of me was like, okay, all right, just try and push through and get through the 7th at least. You don't want to go 6+, right? Because you've been dominating.
Soler strikes out. 8th punch out for Bryce Miller.
Not to mention too, Goldie, I'm pitching against Roy Halladay, who I really looked up to. So I'm like, I pretty much have a no-hitter to beat him, right? And so give up a base hit, and then straight away I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've got to get through 7 because I'm pitching really well, haven't given up a run. I don't want to go 6+. Nothing wrong with that. Adam Lynn comes up. The place is standing ovation, giving me the old, participation clap. Thank you. He comes up, whack, home run. So I turned from I'm out of gas, get through the 7th, to just being straight mad, dude. I was so angry. I'm like, oh man, I just blew this. Not only did I give up the no-hitter, but all of a sudden now we're down 2-1. We end up coming back and winning that game. But how quickly your mindset changes from, man, I've got 0 hits up on the board. How am I going to find my way to the 9th inning? I'm out of gas, to just being straight angry because you've given up some runs.
1 out and 2 on. Meckler is at the plate. Bullpen is up for the Mariners. Interesting spot here as Bryce is transitioning from losing a no-hitter to trying to protect the 1-0 lead.
And remember too, I mean, he's been in absolute cruise control all game long. Not a whole lot of traffic. Now all of a sudden he's got a runner behind him. Trying to make these pitches as you get into that latter part of this pitch count. This is where you want that arm speed on that split down in the way, get that dive and that swing and miss. I mean, this is once a game, right? We talk about this little inside move. all these starting pitchers. There's Bizzardo warming up.
Spire has joined as well. Righty and a lefty. Double barrel action for the Mariners. First and second for the Angels. 1 out. Miller's 1-2. Raley, who has taken over in center field for Julio, is there to make the catch, and everybody stays put. 2 outs and 2-1.
And again, just talking about the mindset from Bryce Miller, all of a sudden now you threw that split, kind of hung out in the middle of the strike zone, but now it all changes from didn't get the no-hitter, all right, got a little bit of traffic. First time you've been checking the runner at second, essentially in a traffic situation here late in the game as your pitch count starts to climb up towards, the mid-80s. And now Cal Raleigh picking his spots to come out with those mound visits. Because now you go from that to all of a sudden, all right, let's push through. Knowing that bullpen, you can look over your shoulder, see the bullpen going. Now you're going to make your 5 of your biggest pitches right here in the 7th inning, protect this 1-run lead.
You've got Joe Adell, the righty, due up next, followed by another right-handed bat in Peraza.
Now giving Gabe Spire a little bit of extra time to get going. You got Josh Lowe, who a couple big hits in this series.
First pitch to Adell. Everybody over to give a look, but it's into the crowd, strike 1.
And I guarantee you part of that mound visit right there from Cal is, hey, look, he's swinging first pitch. Don't try and get to a situation where you just want to get 0-1 and just dump something in the middle of the strike zone. Make it a quality pitch right out the gates.
Two outs, 2 on.
They're going to try and wear out that breaking ball down and away. So we get that chase from Joe Adell.
Fastball misses up 2-1. On the corner, that splitter hung, and EQC Tracer has it as a strike, but ruled a ball.
That would have been a nice pitch, nice timing to try and challenge right there. Change his count to 2-2.
The 3-1 on the ground. Emerson's got it, cut of the grass onto second base to retire the side. Bryce Miller has been simply lights out. Hardly anybody's been better. And this year at T-Mobile Park, he has been virtually untouchable, and that continues tonight against the Angels. Mariners TV is brought to you by Washington's Lottery. Here's to building a stronger Washington. Washington's Lottery helps fund the WAG grant. Free money for college, training, or apprenticeships when you play. All of Washington wins. Well, speeded things up out there on the water. You right over there?
Yeah, Aaron Goldsmith's speedboat. My goodness, it was flying through the Puget Sound.
I'm glad you enjoyed that so much.
Well, so I was thinking the same thing. I'm too mature to say it.
Well, there's some really great evidence of that so far in this half inning. Cole Young leads it off. 8-9-1. Two and 1 to Cole. Close one tonight in the series finale. Blue Jays come to town tomorrow. Over the plate, nearly center cut, 2-2. And Cole calls time. Chasing a slider down and away, one away. Well, the Mariners are leading 1-0 on Cal Raleigh's bases loaded walk.
Yeah, this was, I mean, wasn't that bad. This was quickly goes down 0-2, a nasty changeup, and then the heater's up and in. Look, he fouled that one pitch off and then stays on the changeup, hangs off this pitch right here. That was the difference. And then all of a sudden he's recognized the changeup, stays on that pitch. Boom, nothing doing. This is where you put Urena, that breaking point. Randy Arozarena did the same thing. And if you can stay in the at-bat and have those kind of at-bats where you're fighting through and just able to recognize some of these pitches, but that is huge right there for Cal.
Cal and Dom pretty locked in right there. 1-0 to Cole Emerson. Make it 2-0. Top of the card is next. And we're swapping a little game plan here. Dom's got the iPad out. At the knees for a strike.
Yeah, well, Dom talked about hitting behind Luke Raley was such a bonus for him when he started to heat up. Watching how guys were pitching against Luke Raley. And he's trying to steal little Cal's info. I think that too. I mean, we've had quite a bit of change in the lineup, but when guys are consistently hit behind the same guys, and whether it's righty or lefties, Cal's giving him a whole hitting lesson down there in the dugout by the looks of it. But when they hit behind the same guys consistently, it just helps with that, some of that structure in regards to how a guy is going to attack you, and you don't have to second guess so much as to what pitches, especially if obviously if you hit from the same side of the plate.
3-2. Emerson strikes out. That's 3 straight strikeouts from the Terra. A word now from AAA Washington.
At AAA, you already know we got cool trucks, but did you know we also have insane insurance? AAA Washington, become a member today.
2 up and 2 down, J.P. Crawford. J.P. has the only hit for the Mariners. In fact, the Angels are now out hitting the Mariners 2-1, but the Mariners have the only run so far. Oh, 2. Bizzardo continues to warm inside the Mariners bullpen. Looks as though Bryce is done for the night. JP, don't hit yourself too hard. The Mariners have already lost 2 guys.
Man.
A dribbler picked up Ohapi, and he plays that very well. And the side sat down in order. The Terror retires all 4 that he faced, dating back to the 6th. On to the 8th. Mariners giving Bizzardo a 1-0 lead.
Buck.
Tonight's Western Washington Toyota Dealers pitching matchup. Both starters are out at this point, Urania 5 2/3. Miller, who took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, going 7 innings strong. No runs, just the 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, and no walks. Our Muckleshoot Casino Resort pin report. He turns it over to the bullpen and Edward Bizzardo.
Yeah, just a 1 run. So Edward Bizzardo give up a few hits, a run last time out. And take on the 8th inning. Yeah, Urania was tough. It just got to that point where some really good at bats. Randy Rosarina, Cal Rawley, that was the difference. I think for Bryce Miller, as impressive as he was throughout that entire game, and pitching with some traffic, had the time off, 1-run lead, able to make some big pitches.
Well, if Bizzardo can retire this side in order, he would save Neto and the top of the card for Munoz in the 9th. 7, 8, and 9 due up here for the Angels. Check swing foul at 97, 1-2.
That's a pitch right there. That's a pitch right there that got him in trouble. That sinker that can at times from Bizzardo, as good as he's been, leak out over the middle of the plate.
Strike 3 call. 97-mile-an-hour fastball searing the outer black from Bizzardo.
Again, this is that sinker, right? That little glove side away from righties that he mastered last year. That pitch that runs back out over the plate right there. He just, last time out, that was a pitch that kind of leaked, especially with 2 strikes. That's a big out right there. Josh Lowe, who has done some damage in this series, a couple doubles. Yeah, you don't want a situation where you have to face Zach Neto in this inning with traffic.
And Neto, the power punch in this lineup for the Angels. As strange as that might be to say about a leadoff hitter, Cal wants to challenge this.
Call on the field with the ball. The catcher is challenging.
It would flip it to an 0-2 count. Does it catch the top rung of the strike zone? Yes, it does.
Pitches a strike. Count 0-2. Seattle has 2 challenges remaining.
And you get from thinking you 1-1 to 0-2.
Let's go back to that pitch that was challenged. Who are you going to give this challenge to? Ooh. Who does the tie go to?
Yeah, wow. Is he telling Cal the challenge? Because technically he's... Oh, good pitch.
2 up and 2 down. A couple of strikeouts right away from Bizzardo.
Guys, I'm going to chime in and just say the tie goes to the pitcher.
Okay.
There's nothing in the rule books. I just think, you know.
They're discouraged, Nate.
Yes, they're discouraged, and so tie goes to the pitcher.
Well, the Mariners recently announced the new Legacy Plaza, offering fans the chance to etch their names in Mariners history. You can purchase and customize a baseball medallion or bid on a commemorative bat. Mariners.com/legacy. Here is O'Hoppe. Rattled foul, 1-1. Well, the mission here, take care of O'Hoppe and leave this man for Munoz leading off the 9th. 18 home runs for Neto. It's a 1-run game. Popped up. JP is underneath it. Edward Bizzardo, mission accomplished. A 1-2-3-8. Munoz will have the top of the lineup when we get to the 9th. 1-0 Mariners.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners.
Tonight's Overlake Medical Center scoreboard. 1-0 Mariners with a rainbow right there.
Nice.
This is normally when you should take a picture of it, Ivan. my gosh, the 5-alarm fire we had in the booth last time there was a rainbow.
You remember that?
Oh my.
It wasn't just that. There was the clouds rolling over, the storm, the lightning.
I think it was a double rainbow.
I was using time-lapse, slow-mo.
Sam Bachman takes over. Everybody clear the booth. Hyphen's taking pictures of the rainbows.
You did ask me to send you, like, hey, can you send me those?
Can I post them too?
Yeah.
I just started a podcast. Weston Wilson is at the plate. Bachman's got a big arm. He's been one of the Angels' highest leverage relievers. They're trying to keep this one close.
Yeah, upper 90s fastball. You're going to see a ton of sliders. Righties have really struggled against him. Just 157.
One, two. Did you ever post those photos?
I sure did. People loved it.
Did you get a lot of interaction?
I got so much engagement.
Yeah. No, that's the. I'm
so
sorry.
many followers.
Interaction. Such a doofus. Engagement.
Put some hashtags on it too.
Ooh, man. Oh, Hoppy making the play there. 3-2. It was a double rainbow, right?
Yeah, it was.
And the sky was orange.
No,
It was the storm.
the highlight of my whole sequence of weather I was posting. But you clicked like. I know you did. But it was the slow-mo of the lightning was pretty epic.
Swing and a miss for strike. You got slow motion of a lightning crack. You got.
Oh yeah.
You filmed that?
I sure did.
Are you being for real?
I swear, absolutely.
Wow. You're showing great restraint right now.
Yeah, I am.
What Mother Nature is giving us here. We'll let the fly cam take care of the work for you. Although it probably pales in comparison, obviously. Here's Canzone. Weak wave and a miss for strike one.
It was a rain delay. I mean, it wasn't like the middle of the game.
Oh, you were very bored.
Yeah.
Oh, you were not, to be very clear, you weren't bailing on your job.
No.
No.
Of course not.
Never. That would not at all be the case. There was truly nothing to do except for just admire the sky.
That's right.
2 up and 2 down. Base is empty, 2 away for Rosarena. The Mariners have scored 1 run on 1 hit. Make it 2 hits. Should have said that earlier.
I'll tell you what, after that tough road trip, a vocal Cal Raleigh at the end of that Sunday loss, they gave it up late. You'll take it if they can cling to this 1-run lead. Look at Randy just starting to warm up. We talked about having that 8 games off with a hamstring issue. He's starting to find that rhythm we saw in the first couple of months of this season.
Randy aboard with 2 outs. That's a good pitch to Naylor. The Angels are out of challenges. EQC Tracer has it as a strike. Nothing that the Halos can do about it. Ball 1. Randy sidesteps back to the bag. Randy was drilled earlier tonight on the elbow. He was wearing an elbow guard, but nonetheless, it was a 98-mile-an-hour pitch. He was able to stay in the game. The Mariners have lost 2 players to injury in this game, Julio and Robles. Julio was hit in the back of the helmet on a throw, and Robles was hit by a pitch at the plate. We are making our way to the 8th inning. Andres Munoz getting set to take over, protecting a 1-0 lead.
KeyBank.
Mariners are leading 1-0. The Angels are down to their final 3 outs, and the Mariners announcing during that commercial break that tomorrow the U.S. men's national team head coach Mauricio Pochettino will be throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. Round of 16 on Monday across the street at Seattle Stadium. USA versus Belgium. So very cool.
Yeah.
Team USA will be represented in the house tomorrow. Munoz is on the mound here tonight.
Looked good last game against the Angels back on Tuesday. Quick 1-2-3 inning. A 3-pitch strikeout to Josh Lowe.
Power at the plate.
Now, he had the bottom of the order last time out. Now all of a sudden he's got 1-2-3. Zach Neto to lead things off.
Missing on 2 sliders, 2-0.
Man, we've seen Andres Munoz last handful of outings go fastball heavy, but you've seen the plan last 3 games against Zach Neto. Ton of breaking balls. George Kirby, Brian Wu, Bryce Miller.
Overcooks that fastball. Nothing's been especially close, and it's 3-0 to Neto. Tying run is at the plate. Team leading 18 home runs. Everything down and away, and a pretty easy 4-pitch walk drawn by Neto. Not the start that Munoz wanted.
Now look, I get it. The fact that you know, Neto, we talked about the swing and the chase against breaking balls, but Andres Munoz, I mean, your strength has been lately filling up that strike zone with 101, and he put himself on the ropes right there, going quickly 2-0, not able to land that slider.
Seen a lot of this in the last month and a half or so.
Yeah, wasted no time. First hitter of the game. Whole infield coming over to the mound. And Andres Munoz had a little pep talk, especially from Josh Naylor.
Well, it has been a much better Andres Munoz as of late. It's been led with that fastball by and large. Go ahead run at the plate now. Tying run Neto at first. He runs well. Ball 1. You can feel the crowd getting a little restless with the first 5 pitches missing. Make it 6. He's not been especially close to a strike yet.
You can see him falling off that first base side of the mound. The pitches ended up on that side of the plate as well. There you go.
There you go. Another 100. Bottom of the zone.
Now pay attention to that velocity as well. So a couple 99. He's feeling good. You know, lining up the target and everything's coming out 100%. You see 101.
Neto breaking for second, throw that way, and he is out. He took a barrel roll slide into Colt Emerson. He is out. That is a huge out, number 1.
Well, that is massive. You're struggling to find the strike zone right here. And this is just a situation where they know that Neto, they've got the scouting report, he likes to bounce off, trying to sneak that second base. Munoz is probably too locked in on the hitter. And Cal Raleigh just drops that glove the minute that weight shifts towards second base. And that's out number 1.
That was an ugly slide. Fastball fouled away, 2-2.
Again, you see that velocity starting to creep up. Munoz starting to feel that rhythm and that timing mechanically.
Not an easy guy to strike out. This is into center field for a base hit, and thank goodness Neto was caught stealing. 1 out, 1 on.
Yeah, just a hanging slider right here. We talk about that timing mechanically. We see that velocity start to go up. And again, when you're off time, you're going to see that ball kind of come out the side of your hand. too much play for Nolan Shanuel.
Well, they will run for Shanuel. Jose Siri takes over there. Speed upgrade at first base. Guzman, the batter, extends his hitting streak tonight to 17. Pardon me, on base streak to 17 games. There's the strike. The first pitch strike for Munoz.
Again, back that hitter. He's starting to look good. Be careful here. Guzman is so aggressive. He can run a little bit. Got speed over at first base. Again, this hitter down the middle of the plate, and just an uncomfortable swing. Guzman climb the ladder right here with that fastball.
Crank down the line, pulled very deep, but foul.
Now, I've got no problem with him going back to that side, trying to find it, but when it's an 0-2 count, you get some awkward swings on that hitter. The slider to Shanuel, the pitch, the at-bat before wasn't great. Stick with that hitter. Climb the ladder. Try and get that strikeout at the top of the strike zone.
Raley in center field. Towards the gap. He makes the catch. 2 outs. Crowd rising to its feet. Angels down to their final out. Mariners 1 out away from a series sweep.
Again, another guy with some pop in the middle of that lineup. Hasn't done a whole lot at all. Really nothing this series. He will chase on that breaking ball, but right now with Munoz, you got to find that pitch before you commit to it.
Siri taking off. This is lined into left field for a base hit. Siri making a wide turn and staying put over there at second base. Soler cranked that ball 110 into left field. Mariners fortunate it stayed in the yard.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, you take that right. Center cut, just coming in a little bit. Got that plus bat speed, 110. Lucky that ball didn't have any kind of launch to it.
Soler lifted for a pinch runner. It's former Mariner Donovan Walton. So Siri the runner at second. Walton is the man at first. Tying run in scoring position. And Cal's going out. And here comes pitching coach Pete Woodworth.
Yeah. Good time just to burn up those mound visits. So everyone's on the same page. Cal doing most of the talking right here.
Well, you're facing a guy in Wade Meckler that you are less worried about damage and more worried about ball in play. He's batting over 290. Strikes out at about a league average clip. Walks a fair amount. Does hit the ball on the ground quite a bit. So more of a contact hitter at the plate, where a ball in play could tie this game up. Good runner in Siri at second base. 2 outs, 2 on. Ground ball. Softly hit. Emerson to first base in time. The Mariners win. They sweep the Angels in 3 games.
Wow, what a sweep. Again, after a tough road trip, you come back here, you get enough offense in those first couple of games.
Los Angeles is challenging the out call at first base.
And this is just that last desperate plea to try and keep this game going in a 1-run game. You can see right here, Cole Emerson. Really good transfer. You see Meckler getting up that line. One more look at it right here. Oh, out by a mile.
Yep.
Nothing to worry about.
You know, you say you might as well challenge, and at the same time you look at that and you say, well, it's not even close.
Right.
But nevertheless, using the challenge, and we'll make this thing official here momentarily.
After review, the call in the field is confirmed. The runner is out. Game is over.
Well, the Mariners in the first 2 games really knocked the ball around the yard. They scored 14 runs on 19 hits in the first 2 games of this series. Tonight, 1 run on 2, and it was the only run scored to that in the game for either side.
Yeah, and it was enough too. How good Bryce Miller has been, and he's really been the story in this game. 8 strikeouts, 7 innings. He was in trouble a little bit there in the 7th, able to get through it. But usually, look, we keep saying this is the best version of Bryce Miller, and usually that's, you know, we need 4 to 5 starts or so, a good handful of starts. But man, it has just been consistent. This is his 9th start tonight. He was brilliant.
Our Chevy Silverado drive of the game, Bryce Miller, excellent tonight. 7 scoreless innings, just the 2 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts, a no-hitter through 6 innings tonight for Bryce. Electric stuff. Nearly everybody a first pitch strike, helping the Mariners to a series sweep against the Angels. Our Fire TV winning moment down to the field, Ange.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. All right, J.P. Crawford here, and J.P. Rain was kind of hard to figure out there for a while. Had a no-hitter into the 6th inning. How were you able to figure him out?
Just try to get something up and put a good swing on it. Thankfully, something finally fell.
Okay, that changeup though was tough. I mean, it was given, especially the lefties, fits all night. How were you able to square that up?
Just not trying to do too much. Keep a simple approach, right back up the middle.
4 times in the history of this franchise, you guys have won with 1 hit. You guys got 2 hits tonight. 2 hits. Is this the definition of finding a way to win and completing the sweep against the Angels?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes. You know, a couple walks, good ABs, and thankfully caught a really good AB there to get me in, and now we're here.
Also, we have to say congratulations to JP tonight. 1,000 games. Only 7% of all major leaguers who ever played the game get to this point. What does it mean to you to reach this?
It means everything. I just want to thank my wife and my beautiful daughter up there for, you know, getting me through all the tough times, and Coach Perry Hill for, you know, just keeping me me.
JP, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
J.P. Crawford getting to host the Trident. No home runs tonight, and again, just 2 hits on the evening for the Mariners, but it's enough to get it done. They complete the sweep against the Angels. We're back after this.